20 years ago, on the outskirts of a quiet town in Pennsylvania, there stood an asylum so notorious that the mere mention of it sent shivers through those who had lived long enough to remember its dark history. The building had once been called Hollow Creek Asylum, a place that promised healing and reform for troubled minds. But the truth was far more sinister. Patients went in and were never seen again. Doctors disappeared without explanation, and when the government finally shut it down, no one dared to investigate too closely. The townsfolk left it alone, its massive iron gates rusting under rain and snow, its walls crumbling, yet the doors strangely ajar, as if the building was waiting patiently for new souls to wander in. Three friends, Ethan, Claire, and Marcus, were not the kind of people who believed in ghost stories. They were explorers, YouTubers, trying to make a name for themselves in the crowded world of urban legends and abandoned places. For weeks, they had debated where to go next, and when Marcus suggested Hollow Creek, Ethan jumped at the idea, though Claire's hesitation was obvious. "People say the place is cursed," she said. "Some even say it's alive." Marcus laughed, brushing off her concerns. "Exactly. That's what makes it perfect. Think of the views. Think of the subscribers. We'll be legends." They arrived just past midnight, their car headlights cutting across the long-forgotten path leading up to the asylum gates. The air was heavy with mist, and the trees seemed to lean inward as if trying to block them from passing. Ethan parked the car, and for a moment, none of them spoke. The gates, tall and jagged with rust, loomed ahead. Claire hugged her jacket closer. "Why are they open?" she asked softly. Marcus shrugged. "Easier for us. Let's go." As they pushed past the iron gates, the air grew colder, unnaturally so. The moment they crossed the threshold, the sound of insects and night creatures vanished, leaving only silence. The building stood tall against the cloudy sky, its broken windows like dark eyes watching their every move. Ethan lifted his camera. "Here we are, Hollow Creek Asylum," he announced, his voice echoing strangely. "Locals say the place is haunted, but tonight we'll find out the truth." Inside, their flashlights revealed endless hallways lined with peeling paint and broken tiles. Old wheelchairs sat abandoned, their wheels locked in place, and graffiti scrawled across the walls seemed almost like warnings. Claire walked close to Ethan, her eyes darting to every shadow. "It feels like we're being watched," she whispered. Marcus chuckled, though his voice betrayed unease. "That's the point. Ghosts or not, this place has atmosphere, but only silence answers." A door slammed in the distance, making Claire jump. Marcus tried to laugh, but his voice cracked. "It's probably just the wind." Claire whispered, "There's no wind in here." They reached the dormitory wing where rows of rusting bed frames stretched into the dark. Straps dangled from the sides, stained with time. Claire's flashlight revealed the far wall covered with scratches. Dozens of words carved into the plaster, repeating over and over, "Don't sleep, don't scream, don't stay." Her hands shook as she read them aloud. Ethan tried the door, but it wouldn't budge. The handle twisted, but the wood refused to move, as though something was holding it shut. Marcus raised his camera. On the screen, shapes appeared in the corners of the room, shadows of people, faceless, standing still, watching. He blinked, lowering the camera, and the room appeared empty to the naked eye. He lifted the camera again. The shadows were still there, closer now. He gasped, stumbling back. "They're here," he whispered. Ethan frowned. "What are you talking about?" But when Marcus turned the screen toward him, Ethan froze. The figures were undeniable. Panic set in. They ran into the hallway, searching desperately for another exit, but the corridors twisted unnaturally, pulling them deeper into the asylum. Every hallway looked the same, looping back to where they had started. Claire cried, "It's like the building won't let us leave!" Marcus panted, clutching his camera. "Buildings don't move," Ethan snapped. "This one does." At last, they stumbled into the surgical wing. Rusted scalpels and bone saws lay on trays, untouched for decades. A massive overhead lamp swung gently as if moved by unseen hands. On the surgical table, a patient file lay pristine, untouched by dust. Ethan picked it up, his hands trembling as he read. Patient 48, Ethan Cole, admitted tonight. His own name, his own handwriting on the admission forms. He dropped it, his heart pounding. "This isn't real. It can't be real." Claire clutched his arm. "We have to leave." Marcus, pale with terror, lifted his camera toward the wall. Fresh blood oozed across the plaster, spelling words letter by letter. "You belong here." His hand shook so violently the footage blurred. The lights flickered, and for an instant all three of them saw the truth. The patients. Dozens of pale, hollow-eyed figures standing shoulder to shoulder lining the room. Their mouths opened in unison, whispering one word again and again. "Stay, stay, stay." Ethan grabbed Claire's hand and they ran. Marcus followed, but the asylum twisted and shifted, every hallway leading back to the same cursed wing. The figures grew closer with each step, their whispers filling every corner of the building. Marcus stumbled, dropping his camera. The last footage it captured was his terrified face, mouth wide in a silent scream, before the screen went black. By morning, their car was found outside the asylum gates. The doors of Hollow Creek, which had stood open for decades, were now sealed shut. No trace of the three friends was ever found. But those who dare to approach at night claim they hear voices inside, faint and desperate, calling for help. Some swear they've seen 3 shadows in the broken windows, one holding a camera, waiting for a chance to tell their story. And sometimes, if you stand too close, you may hear the asylum whisper your name, inviting you to join the ones who never left.